As we all know, the 80s series Captain N the Game Master was a mass crossover show that supposedly contained all our favorite characters from the early NES era of video games. However, the portrayals of these classic characters were usually very off-model and very seldomly looked or acted who they were actually supposed to be. They basically looked like not how kids saw them, but how the parents of those kids saw them as they glanced at the TV for 5 seconds when they came in with a fresh plate of pizza rolls while their children continued to ignore them. Unfortunately, included in this clusterfuck of adaptation decay was Megaman, and with him came the first 2 generations of Robot Masters. And Top Man for some reason, I don't know. Now, the first 6 Robot Masters were a lot like those cheap dolls you see in grabber machines. Yes, they were horribly off-model and made fans' brains explode from the level of they just didn't care-ness. But they were at least recognizable, except for Cut Man, he was just plain fucked up. Sadly, the same can't be said for the Mega Man 2 Robot Masters. Why? Well, how about we just take a look and find out for ourselves, shall we? First off, we have Metal Man. Notice that out of all the Robot Masters from Mega Man 2, he's probably the coolest looking. I mean, he looks like a ninja, he throws saw blades, and despite popular belief, he is not a dentist. Also notice how he clearly looks humanoid, not like a fucking can opener. I mean, really, the only thing they kept the same was the aforementioned dentist blade on his head. They didn't even bother to get the color right. Though, since this is Captain N we're talking about, that kinda goes without saying. Let's move on. Now on to Quick Man. Okay, what the hell is this bullshit? Is this really supposed to be Quick Man? Because it looks a hell of a lot more like the Dr. Wily alien form trick from the end of Mega Man 2. The optimist in me wants to say that that was on purpose as a shout out to the fans, but the rest of me knows better and knows they just didn't care. Really, how did they even come to this conclusion? I don't know, and frankly I don't want to. Woodman... Okay, to be fair, they actually did a decent job with Woodman. Sure, he doesn't look right, but at least he can do some more than summon a bunch of leaves. Really, who the hell makes a killer robot out of wood? He's even highly flammable, for God's sake. Here he looks somewhat threatening, and not just like a log with arms and legs. Really, if you think about it for a while, Dr. Wily really fucked up with this first generation of robots. You've got a highly flammable wooden robot, a robot that dies to his own goddamn weapon, an aquatic robot that can barely swim, and Crash Man, just Crash Man. But I'm getting off topic. Back to the real enemy here, Captain N. Next we have Airman. Okay, I get it. Airman can't be defeated. But Captain N sure did a good job of fucking him up. First off, and this seems to be a recurring thing with the Mega Man cartoons, they just couldn't resist giving him an actual head. 2, wasn't his whole gimmick having a giant fan for a body? What's with that weird little symbol? To be fair, he doesn't really look bad. I mean, I can picture an actual Robot Master looking like this, but Airman it ain't. This brings us to... who is this? Looks kind of like they threw Metal Man and Elec Man in a blender and got this silly. Oh my god, that's supposed to be Crash Man! There are hardly words for the level of fail here. Not only does he look gayer than Hydane's interpretation of him, but where the hell are his drills? Why the racquetball throwing arm? It makes no sense. At least he still throws bombs even if they too are totally wrong. They're crash bombs, not Acme bombs. Fuck. Now we come to this fat loser who's supposed to be Bubble Man. Somehow. It's like they didn't even look at the character. They just heard the word bubble and sketched up this abomination. You know, it's uncanny how much it looks like they used some kind of time machine to rip off Aqua Man's design. No, 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 not that Aqua Man. That would be far too heterosexual. This Aqua Man.
You can call me handsome guy.
I don't even want to know what this implies. Let's just go. Well, at least they kept the Zippo resemblance. Unfortunately, it didn't seem to work out quite as well for this Heat Man. While the original's design was endearing and even kind of adorable, this guy just looks creepy. Like some kind of bizarre mailman Satan thing. And the way his hat, lid, whatever's drawn, it wouldn't even really fit over his head right. And why did they feel the need to give him a blaster? And what appears to be an oven mitt? And what the fuck is up with his face? Too many questions! Too many questions! And that's the long and short of it. By the way, I bet you're wondering, weren't there 8 Robot Masters in Megaman 2? Isn't there someone missing? The answer is yes, and that someone is Flashman. That's right, they didn't even bother with him at all. But at this rate, did we really want them to? Just imagine what horrible things they'd come up for poor Flashman. Though, more likely, they'd just pull the same thing they did with Samus and just say, "Who the fuck is Flashman?" No, seriously, they hadn't even heard of Samus Aran, even though Mother Brain was, the freaking main villain of the series. How is that even possible? How do you know about Mother Brain without having heard of Samus? Why are they all so fucked up? Why does this series always make my brain hurt? It makes no sense. I'm Dynamitespoony. Good night, and God help your poor souls.